Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and it's our favorite time of the week. I've got the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves right here in front of me, so let's check them out. All right, first up, we have got a restock of a KnifeCenter exclusive version of the RMJ Tactical Utsidihi 2.0. I almost said 2.0 because it's this he 2.0. We're off to a great start, aren't we?
Utsidihi.
What do you do?
I film you.
Keep it up. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, and this is the RMJ Utsidihi 2.0. And although tactical is in the RMJ Tactical name, this knife has always struck me as more of just a general purpose utility or even everyday carry fixed blade. The blade itself is 3.5 inches long, Nitro V steel with a Cerakote finish, I believe. Just making sure of that. Yep, Cerakote finish. And orange and black G10 handles with a fluted milling on the handles to give you more traction and grip in adverse scenarios. Nitro V steel, nice and tough, which means you could kind of use this a little bit more indiscriminately. You can kind of bang on it and bend on it. Not that I would recommend any of those things, but if you're the type of person who does that sort of thing, a tough steel like Nitro V is going to be a good friend to you. Plus, it takes a really keen edge very nicely as well. Price is $245 on this. It comes with a Kydex sheath with a simple clip right here on the back. Allows you to carry it either on a belt or inside the waistband, depending on how you configure it. Might be stretching the bounds of what would be pocket carryable, but could be done depending on the size of your pockets and what else you may put in the said pockets. So,
Cargo pants approved.
Cargo pants approved indeed. It's a cool knife. Like I say, kind of general purpose utility. I wouldn't feel bad at all about taking this camping as a smaller companion to maybe a bigger fixed blade that I'm taking with me. Or if you don't find the need for a larger fixed blade in your outdoor adventures, it would be perfectly fine on its own too. Cool knife. Next up, we've got several limited edition products. The first is another fixed blade. This is the Helle Fjording 50R, AAR. I don't know what AAR stands for in this case. There it is. Price is $159 for this, and it is based on, it's a knife that is based on the Nying. I had to make sure I got the name correct there. But it's a little bit nicer. Curly birch handles with a green curly birch spacer right there, and a wide flat handle design that really lends itself well to carving, quite honestly. That would be my, the first thing I think of how I would utilize this knife would be exactly that, because you've got a wide handle or a wide patch for control and lets you really bear down on it while also being small and not something that gets in its own way when you're trying to do like intricate carving stuff. The blade itself is 2.7-ish inches long, and you've got that Scandi grind on there, meaning it's a flat bevel all the way down to essentially zero. Kind of think of it, the way I like to describe a Scandi grind is sort of a double planed chisel or double beveled chisel coming right down to that point. And I mentioned woodworking. That is where Scandi grinds really shine, of course, is working on wood. Not saying it can't do other things too, but that's where it's really like at its best, I would say. And the steel is H3LC, and I thought, oh, something new. It's not. It is, but it isn't. H3LC literally stands for Helle Triple Laminate Carbon. So this is a sandwiched steel where you've got a different core metal than the outside layers. If this were a Japanese knife, they would call it sanmei or sanmai style of construction. The actual material, the outer layers are S235, a tough carbon steel, non-stainless, and the core is also a carbon steel, which is essentially a 52-100 equivalent, which is itself already quite tough. But depending on what the heat treat protocol on this is, what they can do sometimes with that triple laminate construction is treat so the core achieves a higher hardness, and yet the lower carbon outer layers are able to still maintain the toughness. So it's kind of best of both worlds type of scenario, which is pretty cool. The sheath is pretty cool too, actually. It's leather. It looks almost like a pen case right here, quite honestly. Slip it in. You've got the belt loop here on the back, including the 2 slits, which means you can trap it around a belt loop so it won't move left or right for you. You've got a retention hole in the top that fits over that brass stud there on the pommel, and then slips in like so. Pretty cool. You can secure it on your belt quite nicely. Very, very unlikely that this is going to slip out of a safe position, and also is a sheath that works well if you're storing it in something else like a bag, toolbox, what have you. I like it. Limited edition as mentioned for 2025. Don't know how many they have made explicitly, but you're not going to see it much longer after this. So there you go. It's honoring the 50th anniversary of the knife it was based on originally, actually. So that would be the reason for it to be the raison d'etre, if you will.
Raison Helle.
I really miss the dogfish head raison d'etre. It was really good stuff. Can't find it anymore. A couple limited folders now from Knife and CIVIVI, sister companies, of course. The first is the 702 XI Integral. There are 4 variants of this knife, and it is based on one of their early designs, kind of brought back and updated. 4 variants, as I mentioned, each one limited to 150 pieces. This is the most expensive one, coming in at about $414, but it looks like the entry price there is about $364. So different finishes and inlay materials depending on which one you get. But this one, we have Jungleware Fat Carbon and Integral Titanium construction. So no seams there at the back. It's a single piece of titanium, and the shape is super complex, really sophisticated, feels really good in the hand, and that's something that an integral folder can do better than any non-integral folder, essentially, if they take the time to do it right, and they have done it here. Those ergonomics, because there's no gaps, no hot spots, no pinch points to trap the flesh of your hand anywhere. The only thing you really feel that's out of place in that grip would be the pocket clip. You could remove that if you wanted to. It's not a hindrance, however, but everything else about it is just so nice. Just about a 4-inch blade, M390 steel with a hollow grind and a full-length swedge. Nice finish on the blade itself here, and a button lock on this knife. Gives you that finger-safe closing action, that wrist flick opening and closing action, in addition to that flipper tab that they've got right there. Full-length handle, and even a finger choil if you wanted to get up closer to the business end of the knife. Now from CIVIVI, they've got a limited edition of the Mini Praxis right now, which is a very popular EDC knife in standard form, and they've kind of dressed it up here. $85 or so, 3-inch S35 VN blade, which is a bump up over the standard steel. It's got a nice broad drop point shape, really attractive to my eye, and an unguarded finger choil here as well, so you can get up close on that. This is one design where I kind of wish they would leave the choil off there, because it's a small knife anyway. I'd rather take the extra edge, but that 3-inch drop point shape, if you're a longtime viewer of this channel, you know I appreciate how versatile that type of format is. That's definitely still the case here. Arctic Storm Fat Carbon for the handle, hammered titanium for the deep carry pocket clip, right side only in this case. Liner lock, limited to 214 pieces. I think that's what it says here. Yep, 2014. Nice flipping action. Sorry, I was a little lazy there with it. Nice and crisp. Ball bearings in the pivot. It's a cool knife. If you would rather go with just a standard version, the Mini Praxis is honestly a phenomenal deal at just under $30 for a D2 and G10 version of it. So if you like the design but don't care about the fanciness here, crazy good buy for the standard version. A bunch of new WE and CIVIVI dropped this week. There was a fixed blade that actually sold out real quick. Working on getting more of those, so maybe I'll have that for you next week. But back to we have got the Brian Brown designed Micro Trogon, taking a larger design and scaling it down to that more convenient everyday size. 2.7 inches on the blade, or 2.68. So it's definitely a little bit on the smaller side. Let me compare the actual edge though. You actually get a little bit more sharpened edge than on the mini Praxis there. It's kind of a funny twist of fate. M390 steel, of course, not super tough, but holds an edge really well. Steel's a little bit on the thicker side to bring some strength back to compensate for the steel choice here. But you know, it's a small folder. You want edge retention over toughness anyway. And also kind of stacking the deck a little bit is the nice hollow grind here, keeping it very thin behind the edge, maintaining sliceability, flat grind at the tip, milled or micro milled lines throughout, including on the milled titanium pocket clip right there. Frame lock for security. A couple ways to open it. You've got thumb studs and the fuller. I find reverse flicking the fuller is the easiest way for me, given the size of the knife. It's only a 3-finger grip for my slightly larger than average hands. I am finding if I go to use the thumb studs, I'm having a hard time not squeezing the frame lock a little bit, which makes it harder to open a little bit. You can do it, but you got to think about it. For me, that reverse flick has become a lot more natural, or is a lot more natural on this knife. Your mileage may vary, of course. Next up, and I can hear some of you in the comments already getting a little crabby about all the small knives. Well, stick with me a minute, but this is the new Crabby from CIVIVI. This is designed by Ken Onion Jr. Small, compact, and yet pretty hand-filling sheep's foot design. 63 bucks, 2.7-inch blade, 14C28N. Similarities to Nitro V. It's not identical, but has a lot of the similar traits going on. Takes a fine edge, holds it pretty well, stainless, and very tough as well. And on a kind of broader blade like this, a sheep's foot, I always think like tough push work, and that toughness there is going to be a nice thing. G10 handles here. This one is the purple variety, but several flavors are available. So this is kind of like the grape soda version right here. Deep carry pocket clip inset with flush head screws there, so it's nice and smooth in and out of the pocket. Feels good in the 3-finger grip right here, and actually feels like you could push it pretty hard even without needing that 4th finger. But if you want it, you do have an unguarded finger choil up here, which is a little small for my finger size. Again, your mileage may vary, but if you wanted to get up there, maybe even with a fingertip for me, you could get a little bit more purchase that way. Let's check out the action. We've got a liner lock with ball bearings in the pivot and a nice detent. It's a CIVIVI, that's what they do, and they do it very well. It's almost, yeah, you could kind of slow roll it. It's not really a front flipper, but you've got this this curve here. I almost wish they put a little more jimping right there. That would have made it even easier to do that kind of flick. You run out of space a little bit, but you can do it. So that's a cool knife. And now from Sencut, which is the bottom of the 3-rung tier of the wee CIVIVI empire, we have a large knife. I told you guys it was coming. It's all right.
And there it is.
Actually, the first wee there is a larger knife, 4-inch blade, but easy to carry thanks to how narrow it is. This is much more broad. This is the Squiggy. I don't think they had a name for the knife, and they were looking at milling patterns and said, hey, we can do that, and then we could call it the Squiggy. Why not? Why not, indeed. This is a heck of a lot of knife for the money, no matter what you call it, though. 48 bucks, and you've got a 3.89-inch blade. The steel is 9CR. That is a lot to work with right there for the money, for sure. G10 handles, 2-tone, couple different flavors can be had. You've got a button lock, again, giving you finger-safe closing action. You can flip it with the flipper tab, or reverse flick it with the large blade cutout. Thumb opening in a standard go works quite nicely. Less so with the throw with the thumb because of the geometry there, but if you want to do that, you can just wrist flick it with that button lock there. Tons of real estate, deep carry pocket clip, reversible, flush, and inset, that's the word. A lot of stuff for 48 bucks, folks. Come on. Despite the size, though, I wouldn't really characterize this as a hard use knife, meaning not something you could really just kind of use without a care to what you're doing to the knife. The blade steel is on the thinner side despite the length, and you've got a hollow grind keeping the geometry super thin near the edge. So it's not something you're going to go wrenching and twisting on, but if you want a lot of slicing in your EDC, this is definitely going to give you what you need.
That'll spread your sandwich spreads.
Sure, if that's what you're into. Actually, now that you say that, makes me think this is like a line of mustard on a hot dog or something.
I could never get that to work.
Yeah, true. Hot dog is a sandwich, though.
Bit of a taco.
That's another video. Anyway, now we have the Oknife from Oknife Duron. This is the latest or newest knife featuring their new OAL aluminum material, which is exclusive to them. It's proprietary to them, I should say, and basically stronger and lighter than standard aluminum. We saw it first on that new Ken Onion design a little bit ago, and we're starting to see them spread that across the lineup, not just on their knives, but on their flashlights as well. This is more affordable than that Ken Onion design, which was the XEN OAL, by the way. That was about $200. This one is sitting at $99.99 right now. For that, you're getting a almost 3.5 inch blade. Nitro V, we already talked about what's nice about that. Full flat grind with nice thin enough blade stock means this is going to slice really well, but you've got the security of a frame lock to go with it, which means no wiggle whatsoever because they've done it right. And the more you squeeze and grip the knife as you're pushing it hard, the better the lockup is. Not that it needs it, but you know what I mean. And yet, despite that kind of hard-working feel, it doesn't weigh a lot. Like, that's the lightness of the OAL aluminum right there. 3.17 ounces to be exact in this case. You've also got a deep carry pocket clip, pocketed on both sides for left or right carry. Flush head screws, again, nice and easy in and out of the pocket. Blade shape is great. Handle is very straightforward, so a lot of, I don't think there's be any hand size or configuration of digits that wouldn't work with this handle. Yeah, neutral enough for big or small hands. My only kind of gripe a little bit, there's a little bit of a hot spot right here at the forward end of that frame lock right there on the frame side, not on the lock bar itself. We've seen that on occasion from other folks as well, but yeah, that'd be my only little gripe there. I think it's a fantastic shape, it's a cool material, and the price isn't terrible either. So check it out if you wish. Next up, we've got another lightweight knife, the Vosteed Parallel. Interesting study in contrast here, however. The Parallel is 2.29 ounces. So actually it's almost an ounce, about 0.9 of an ounce lighter than the Duron right here, but yeah, titanium is actually going to be heavier than this aluminum material. It makes you wonder like what they could do if they had access to this material, how light they really could get the Parallel. What is the Parallel? It is designed to be lightweight and super, super slim, actually, even more than lightweight. Check out how narrow and flat that's going to carry in your pockets. So if you need a knife, you want to carry a knife, but you don't like too much in your pockets, you like a minimal feel overall, this could definitely be something to check out. And these are just the newest versions of this. There are several on the site still. And yeah, we've got like 4 different ones in stock on the site right now. The 2 new versions, we've got a kind of a copper colored version and this sort of blue jean combination here is what I'm calling it anyway. Feature upgraded blade steel over the originals. We've got S35 VN, so you have powder metal steel, and they're coming in at about 149, yeah, 149 right now. The blade is very thin and very precise. S35 VN, as I mentioned, 2.9 inches and a reverse tanto blade shape.
Good job.
One could call it a modified sheep's foot if you wish, and
We
I
won't.
would. They can.
Oh, we won't.
I might. It's a really nice little utilitarian blade day to day. I do like the versatility of a drop point, but the utility-focused nature of this type of blade shape is quite nice. You can use the tip very effectively for piercing and scoring, for for especially. And the geometry itself is going to cut very efficiently when you're pushing or slicing through some stuff, thanks to how just gosh darn thin it is. The handles are titanium. You've got a stone-washed blue, which makes me think of denim a little bit, especially when you place it next to these almost brass-colored accents right here. Again, same color you get on a classic pair of Levi's. We've got a wire pocket clip, not completely deep carry, but it feels extremely sturdy, and it is reversible, so lefties are going to be happy with this too. The crossbar lock, of course, gives left-hand advantages as well. So no matter which side you like to carry your knife on or which hand you like to use your knife in, don't use your knife on a hand, but you can use it in a hand, this thing is going to do quite nicely for you.
In a hand, that's Wolverine.
Ah, yes, I forgot about that. How about a hedgehog, though?
Similar animal.
Good, because this is the Vosteed Hedgehog. Instead of being small and slim, this is small and chunky, however. 129 for this knife. You've got a 3-inch S35 VN blade here. Less sharpened edge than on the parallel, but chunkier overall. You might think, why am I paying less for more, or why am I paying more for less here? It's that this is a lot harder to make than this. It's harder to make that thin, I should say. Anyway, 129, black micarta for the handles. A couple different new flavors have just been added. Really aggressive sheep's foot style blade right here with a unguarded finger choil if you want to get choked up. But even if, for me, I would kind of bridge or put my index finger over the pivot when I want to do a big full-fisted grip, and there's enough real estate for me to do it right there. This knife features their button-actuated liner lock, right? They're the ones calling it the battle lock, right? It is essentially a button-fired alternative, or a button-fired interpretation of the compression-style lock, of course, which Spyderco famously brought to market. It's not identical to their system, but it operates on similar principles. It is very stable, very secure, and the button doesn't stick out too much, so it feels like it's very unlikely you would accidentally disengage it while you're actually using the knife, which is nice, but when you want to disengage it, it's not difficult. Push, flick in, you're good to go. Opening, you've got a flipper tab there at the back. You've also got a fuller, sorry if my index finger got in the way there, fuller for a reverse flick, thumb studs for thumb stud action. Take your pick. It all feels pretty good. Small but mighty. That's where this would really fit, that kind of compact powerhouse genre. We did a video on that at one point. Maybe we'll put it up here. Maybe we'll update it too, because that was a while ago that we did that one. Anyway, one more Vosteed to take a look at today, and that is the Gavco designed Leopard. Also with that same locking mechanism, the top liner lock. Sorry, that's what they're calling it, the top liner lock. $249 for this, M390 blade steel, and it says reverse Tonto again on the website. 3.38 inches. Stonewashed finished, a little bit on the thicker side. High-ish flat grind here, but this is not a super slicer. This is going for a little more of that slightly overbuilt feel without going too far over that it gets kind of unwieldy or unusable for slicing applications. Titanium for the handle, gray with blue accents. Single-sided pocket clip here, milled titanium, bolted in from the inside, so it's very clean in its presentation from the outside, which is pretty nice. Action is really nice. Like buttery smooth, in fact, in this case. Really, really well done. Open it. You can either do what I'm doing here, push the button and flick it open or close, or you've got that nice big hoop in the blade for manipulation. You could thumb open it. You could do all kinds of things with it. There you go. Very cool. Next up, we got some Microtechs, the Socom Bravo Mini manual folder. These are made by Reate Knife for Microtech. $325 is what you're going to pay to get one of these. Blade itself here is almost 3.5 inches long, and it's about couple bits shorter than that. Really nice horizontal grain finish on the M390 steel right here, however. Very, very cool feeling. I know some folks like more of a two-tone look, or might expect more of a two-tone, like a dark and light on this, but I'm digging this. Handles are titanium. You've got carbon fiber inlays, chunky titanium milled clip as well. Frame lock style construction, and kind of like that Duron. This has kind of been a complaint of mine with the full-size version of this. There is a little bit of a hot spot right there where your index finger sits, but I like the size of this. It's a little more my style for everyday carry versus the full-size versions of these, which are what, about a 4-inch blade, which is fine. Like the full-size Bravo, or yeah, the full-size Socom is quite nice, but it can verge on a lot for some folks. There's something more refined feeling about this size to me, which is funny to think of saying about a design that's like purely a tactical knife originally. But anyway, they spiced it up with the fancier appointments, of course. It's just really nice. I think it's a great size. It gives you a good amount to work with, but it doesn't feel huge. It feels a little smaller than a 3.5-inch spec would, at least what I would usually think of as a 3.5-inch knife. So yeah, I'm rambling a little bit, but I dig it.
What else are you gonna do?
Yeah. Could speed through this and just be more efficient with everyone's time.
It seems unlikely.
You're not wrong. One more Microtech to take a look at. And this is an auto. I should mention, we get new Microtech autos in, or new batches of Microtech autos in all the time. They're not always like brand new SKUs, but they are, things get restocked. Or things might be coming in a new color that they haven't come in, color and blade combination or blade finish that they haven't come in before. Check out the brand page. Check out the new arrivals page on the website as well, where you can see all of that stuff. So we don't always bring all of those on there, because we could honestly fill about half the table up with Microtechs most weeks. But this one caught my eye in particular. This is the Shadow Clone Trooper version of the UTX 85. Comes in about $380. Speaking of EDC-friendly Microtechs, the 3-inch blade here, especially with the drop point, makes it a very nice thing to carry around day to day if you're able or willing to carry an automatic knife. Classic Microtech action right there. Blade steel is unspecified, and they actually don't have it labeled on here, but they don't use anything but particle metal steels in their OTFs anymore, unless something's changed. I just couldn't tell you which one it is, unfortunately. But I love the distressed look of the handle. That's really what caught my eye on this one. It has been sort of darkened and then brushed, but not completely brushed clean. It's just really cool. Has a broken-in vibe, that fet effect, if you will. And it's just really nice. Not the super sliciest, but the size is great, as I mentioned, especially for a good EDC OTF. The pocket clip is reversible for left or right carry. You've got multiple pinch points on the clip, making sure it's got plenty of retention. And being an OTF, it is not too wide in the pocket either. So again, very easy to incorporate into your everyday use. Glass breaker at the pommel too, forgot to mention that. Next up, kind of a similar shape actually, but in folding form, the PL-6 from Reate. We actually showed this last week in our FAQ video, the ones that come out every Saturday, but realized we haven't shown it yet on the New Knives episode, so bringing it here as well. 132 for this. You've got a Nitro V 3.5-inch drop point blade, stone-washed finish, or two-tone technically finish on this. Ultim handles, but if you aren't a fan of that translucent material, there are several micarta options available right now as well. And you operate this by pushing on the pivot. That is your button lock right there. You can do button lock things, flick open and closed, finger safe closing action, but it doesn't take up any extra space on the knife itself. You do have some extra space being taken up by this safety right here, and that works in the open position to keep it extra locked in case you're worried about, if you're manhandling this knife, accidentally pressing that button and disengaging the blade. This gives you a little bit of peace of mind. It's not going to work in the closed position, however. Just keep that in mind. Clip is reversible, folded over, but not quite deep carry. That gives lefties the ability to use this knife quite easily, thanks to the button lock style of operation there. Action, they call it a front flipper on the site, but it really isn't. all the sections of this this flipper tab fall behind or on the spine side of the pivot, essentially. It's more of a top rear flipper, if you want to get descriptive about it, but you can flip it almost like a normal flipper tab with your index finger right there, and also works nicely, allegedly, with a thumb opening as well. Nice and hand filling. It's not super thin. It gives you a little bit of chunk, and you've got a neutral shape to really kind of get down and dirty with this knife. Slightly on the thicker side of the blade there, plus the Nitro V giving you extra toughness. This is something that feels like you could use it a little bit harder. Certainly feels more, hard use than the Narrows. Ooh, parallel that we looked at earlier. Speaking of Benchmade, we have 2 new Meatcrafters dropped earlier this week. Here they are. 6-inch trailing point blade, CPM 154. They've always marketed this as a hunting knife, and it would certainly work for field butchering and fish processing, but I think it's also been a fantastic option for kitchen use as well. I've actually been using one of their the injection molded handle versions for a while in my kitchen. We had one that the tip snapped off, and I kind of fixed the tip on it a little bit, and I've been having fun with that. And it works great for more than just meat processing and butchering in the kitchen. It's very thin, so the cross section is very efficient in how it slices, and it's just a beautiful thing. 2 versions. You've got a pretty significant price delta between them, actually. You've got the G10 with G10 bolster on the end, and you've got Richlight with a G10 bolster on the end. They all have these flared tubes. $315 for the Richlight version, $375 for the G10. That's a pretty significant upcharge for, I like Richlight better than G10, quite honestly. I know black blades are typically charged a little bit more than a non-blackened blade with Benchmade, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and suggest you go for this one. I think it's pretty cool. Feels good in the hand. That Richlight has a bit of almost like a faux jigged texture milled into it. Although the ultimate grip is going to be the injection molded versions, of course, and those are going to be easier to keep clean in a kitchen or field dressing scenario too. Like there's a lot of seams going on here, but it also comes with this here sheath. Sorry, there we go, or mask, if you will. It's injection molded. I don't think it matters what it is exactly. But it's a little blade cover right there, which means it's easy to put in a cook kit or a box or even a kitchen drawer. I keep harping on this as a kitchen knife because I think it works really well right there. I should mention though, actually, since filleting is a potential use case for this, there's a little bit of a swedge taken out of the spine right here. And what Benchmade has said in the past is that's actually carefully cut out to give just a little bit of flex to the CPM 154 blade. It's not crazy flexy, but a little bit of flex. So using this on some bigger fish cuts could certainly be a thing. And CPM 154, didn't talk about that. It's a great steel. It is a powder metal version of 154 CM, which means it's a lot tougher than standard 154 CM, which is nice. Next up, we have the Guardian 3.5 from Bradford, another kind of all-rounder for EDC or outdoor uses on the more compact side of fixed blade things. Fairly good deal, I think, for what you're getting here too. American made, $207, MagnaCut steel. It's technically labeled as MagnaCut HH. That is not a new steel. That is just what they're using as a designation in this case to indicate that they are taking this to a pretty decent hardness as opposed to keeping it a little bit lower for more toughness. They've taken it higher for more edge retention. And how high? Spec is listing 63 to 64 Rockwell as the target. So that's a really good spot for MagnaCut to be. Cutting edge of this knife is about 3 inches, but if you measure from tip to handle scale, you're getting more like 3.5, hence the 3.5. There it is in the name right there. Micarta for this, we've got a couple flavors. I really like the handle shape right here. You've got that inverted egg thing going on, and it is wide enough that it fills the hand and yet still indexes quite nicely. It doesn't feel like it's going to twist on you while you're really pushing into using that steel. Is this the first MagnaCut knife on the table today? I believe it is. If you don't know, Sorry if you do, but if you don't, MagnaCut is stainless, but it is super tough and holds an edge very well. With the high hardness spec on this one, it is definitely focusing on that higher edge retention, but this still should be plenty durable, especially with the thickness they provide here for some indiscriminate hard use. Sheath is leather. It is a right-hand designed sheath. Well, technically, it's essentially two ways. You've got a horizontal belt loop here on the back, so you could carry that either cross draw for right-handers. Lefties could get into it that way, or you could carry it the small of your back. That's gonna be hard to get to from your right hand if you're doing it that way. But for left-handed carriers, this will work for a scout carry quite nicely. Last but not least, two new color variations for the Leatherman Signal. We have the Tundrascape, which is this one right here, 3 different colors as part of that colorway. Some people don't like the term colorway because they think it's pretentious, but this is a perfect item for why colorway is better than color in many cases, because what color is this? Or what color is this? Well, there's 3 colors in this colorway. Anyway, that's the Tundrascape. This is the Mesa Verde version. Each one comes with a coordinated sheath. I almost said matching, but it's coordinated. And this is the Tundrascape version right there. If you're unfamiliar with the Signal, I'll just go over it real briefly. It is a pliers-based Leatherman multi-tool. Classic format for them. $140. You've got needle nose, standard pliers, replaceable cutters there on the plier heads. Inside tools over here, you've got 3 items. You've got a can opener, great for usage in camping scenarios. You're oftentimes bringing some cans. They may or may not have those pull tabs. A scraper/awl right here, also great. You've got the bit holder for Leatherman's flat bit system, means you can carry what you need to keep your gear in tip-top shape. And then the other implements you get, I always forget how to access these because I don't use one of these frequently. Get to those in a minute. Outside, you've got a hammering section here at the pommel, hammering tent stakes or what have you. You've got a 1/4-inch bit socket right there for standard 1/4-inch bits. You've got a carabiner and a bottle opener built into that section as well. And you can take these out. I'm not going to get into it right now, but you do have a diamond sharpener that is removable on this side. You can keep your edge in tip-top shape. And this unit right here, you've got a ferro rod and survival whistle that comes out. You can strike sparks with it or signal with it. And the other tools outside, you've got your wood saw and you have a combo-edged sheep's foot style blade. It's kind of been my only complaint about this for a while. I wish this was a plain edge. It'd be better for wood carving and that sort of thing. But as a general use outdoor tool, I'm not gonna get too mad about it being serrated. That's just a personal preference in this case, but there you go. If you don't like those colors, other colors are available. Other colorways are available. Sorry, I broke my own rule there for a minute.
No way.
What are you gonna do? That's all we have for today, however, folks. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and if you wanna get your hands on any of these, check out the links in the description to take you to KnifeCenter.com. We got a lot of cool knives over there. We've got our Knife Rewards program, lets you earn some free money on future knives. We've even got new Sezzle payment options if you want to make some of these more expensive knives more manageable to purchase. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off for now. See you next time.